The only competition that matters. Beat yesterday's version of you. Part 1. The illusion of the rival. Think about the last time you scrolled through social media. Within 30 seconds, you saw someone younger than you with more money, someone fitter than you with a better diet, and someone happier than you on a beach in Bali. In that moment, a silent contract was signed in your brain. You decided that they were the benchmark. You decided that your success is measured by how close you are to their life. But here's the cold, hard truth. You are playing a game you've already lost because you're playing by someone else's rules. Welcome to the ultimate masterclass on the only competition that matters. Today, we aren't talking about them. We're talking about the person staring back at you in the mirror. Because your competition isn't the billionaire on the screen. It's not your coworker. It's not your childhood friend who just bought a house. Your real competition is the version of you that stayed in bed 10 minutes too long this morning. The version that chose the easy path. The version that gave up when things got hard. For the next 60 minutes, I'm going to prove to you why competing against yourself is the only game worth playing. And by the end, you'll have a complete blueprint to become better than you were yesterday, every single day. 2 minutes to 6 minutes, the psychology of social comparison. In 1954, psychologist Leon Festinger developed the social comparison theory. He argued that humans have an innate drive to evaluate themselves by looking at others. It's hardwired into us. We need to know where we stand in the tribe. But Festinger didn't have an iPhone. He didn't foresee a world where we would compare our behind-the-scenes footage with everyone else's highlight reel. Here's what happens in your brain when you scroll through Instagram. You see someone's perfect vacation, their perfect body, their perfect relationship. Your brain's prefrontal cortex lights up, the same region that processes physical pain. You are literally hurting yourself. Research from the University of Pennsylvania found that limiting social media use to 30 minutes per day led to significant reductions in loneliness and depression. Why? Because people stopped comparing their real lives to other people's fake lives. Global studies show that high-income countries, the United States, United Kingdom, Germany, Australia, have the highest rates of what psychologists call relative deprivation. This is the feeling that you are poor not because you lack food or shelter, but because your neighbor has a faster car. Think about that. In the richest countries in human history, people feel poor because they're playing the wrong game. They're measuring themselves against an impossible standard that someone else created. 6 minutes to 10 minutes, the humor and reality check. Let's be honest, half the people you're jealous of are faking it. That hustle culture influencer posting from a corner office, he's filming 50 videos in one day wearing different shirts and renting a fake office by the hour. That's not a business, that's theater. That fitness model with the perfect abs, professional lighting, professional photographer, flexing so hard they can barely breathe, and enough filters to make a cartoon character jealous. That entrepreneur bragging about their 6-figure launch, they're not mentioning the $50,000 in ad spend or the fact that they haven't paid themselves in 6 months. You are competing against ghosts, against illusions, against people who are just as insecure as you are, but better at hiding it. Meanwhile, the most successful people in history, from Marcus Aurelius to Steve Jobs, didn't wake up asking, "How can I beat my neighbor?" They asked, "How can I be slightly less of an idiot than I was yesterday?" Marcus Aurelius, the Roman emperor who ruled the most powerful empire on earth, wrote in his private journal, "Waste no more time arguing what a good man should be. Be one." He wasn't competing with other emperors. He was trying to be better than the man he was the day before. Steve Jobs didn't build Apple by obsessing over what Microsoft was doing. He built it by asking, "Can we make this product better than the last one we made?" That's the secret. The only person you need to beat is the person you see in the mirror. Part 2. The math of greatness. 10 minutes to 20 minutes. 10 minutes to 15 minutes. The 1% rule. Let's talk about figures, real math, not motivational fluff. If you improve by just 1% every single day, where do you end up in a year? Most people think you'd be 365% better. They are wrong. Because of the power of compounding, if you get 1% better every day for 365 days, you will be 37 times better than when you started. 1.01 to the power of 365 equals 37.78. Let me say that again. 37 times better. Not 3 times, not 10 times, 37. Now look at the alternative. If you get 1% worse every day, if you slack off, skip the work, make excuses, choose comfort over growth, after 1 year you decline almost to zero. 0.99 to the power of 365 equals 0.03. This is the brutal math of life. Small choices compound. The question is, are they compounding in your favor or against you? Success isn't a giant leap. It's not winning the lottery. It's not one viral video. It's a series of tiny, boring wins against your yesterday self.
Part 2. The Math of Greatness. 10 minutes to 15 minutes. The 1% rule. Let's talk figures. Real math, not motivational fluff. If you improve by just 1% every single day, where do you end up in a year? Most people think you'd be 365% better. They are wrong. Because of the power of compounding, if you get 1% better every day for 365 days, you will be 37 times better than when you started. 1.01 to the power of 365 equals 37.78. Let me say that again. 37 times better. Not 3 times, not 10 times, 37. Now look at the alternative. If you get 1% worse every day, if you slack off, skip the work, make excuses, choose comfort over growth, after 1 year, you decline almost to zero. 0.99 to the power of 365 equals 0.03. This is the brutal math of life. Small choices compound. The question is, are they compounding in your favor or against you? Success isn't a giant leap. It's not winning the lottery. It's not one viral video. It's a series of tiny, boring wins against your yesterday self. Did you work out today? 1% better. Did you read 10 pages? 1% better. Did you make 1 extra sales call? 1% better. None of these actions feel significant in the moment, but over time, they create an unstoppable force. 15 minutes to 20 minutes. The Kaizen philosophy. In Japan, they have a word for this, Kaizen. It means continuous improvement. After World War II, Japan's economy was in ruins. Their cities were destroyed, their infrastructure was gone. They had nothing. American economists predicted it would take 50 years for Japan to recover, but the Japanese didn't try to become a superpower overnight. They focused on Kaizen, small, continuous improvements every single day. Toyota became the most reliable car company in the world, not because they had better engineers than Detroit. They had Kaizen. Every worker on the assembly line was empowered to suggest improvements, not big changes, small ones. Shave 2 seconds off this process. Reduce waste by 1% here. Over decades, these tiny improvements compounded into the most efficient manufacturing system on Earth. Today, Japan is the 3rd largest economy in the world and one of the most advanced nations in human history, all because they focused on being 1% better every day. What is your Kaizen? Is it reading 5 pages of a book before bed? Is it doing 10 push-ups every morning? Is it making your bed? Is it drinking 1 extra glass of water? It doesn't matter what it is. What matters is that you do it. If yesterday you did 0 and today you does 1, you have won. You are officially in the top 1% of people because you're moving forward while the rest of the world is busy looking sideways at everyone else. Part 3. The Case Studies of Self-Mastery. 20 minutes to 27 minutes. The story of Colonel Sanders. Let's look at a man who ignored the global timeline of success. A man who refused to compare himself to the young entrepreneurs around him. A man who just kept competing against himself. Harlan Sanders, Colonel Sanders. At age 65, he was broke, completely broke. He had a Social Security check of $105 and a chicken recipe. That's it. Most people at 65 are thinking about retirement, about winding down, about accepting that their best years are behind them, but not Sanders. If he had compared himself to the young successes of his time, the entrepreneurs in their 20s and 30s, building empires, he would have quit. He would have said, "I'm too old, I missed my chance." Instead, he got in his car and started driving. He went to restaurants and pitched his chicken recipe. He offered to teach them how to make it in exchange for a small percentage of sales. He was rejected 1,009 times. 1,009. Think about that. Most of us quit after 3 rejections, after 5, after 10. We take it personally. We decide it's a sign from the universe that we should stop. But Sanders wasn't fighting the restaurants. He was fighting his own urge to give up. Every rejection, he had to beat the 65-year-old version of himself that wanted to quit. On his 1,010th pitch, someone said yes. Today, KFC is a multi-billion-dollar empire with over 27,000 locations in 140 countries, all because one man refused to compare himself to anyone else. He just kept trying to be better than he was the day before. 27 minutes to 35 minutes. The Michael Jordan and the internal standard. Michael Jordan is widely considered the greatest basketball player ever. 6 NBA championships, 5 MVP awards, a cultural icon. But did you know he didn't make his high school varsity team? He was cut, told he wasn't good enough. His friend Leroy Smith made the team instead. Most people would have quit, or worse, they would have spent the rest of their lives bitter about the kid who made it while they didn't. But not Jordan. He didn't go home and cry about Leroy Smith. He didn't compare himself to the kids who made varsity. He went to the gym. Every single day, he worked on his game. Not to beat Leroy Smith, not to prove the coach wrong, but to be better than the Michael Jordan who got cut yesterday. Jordan famously said, "I've failed over and over again in my life, and that is why I succeed." His competition wasn't the other team. It wasn't the other players in the league. It was his own fatigue, his own laziness, his own previous performance. When reporters asked him about his success, he said, "I never looked at the consequences of missing a big shot." When you think about the consequences, you always think of a negative result. He didn't care about being better than Magic Johnson or Larry Bird. He cared about being better than the Michael Jordan from yesterday. Every practice, he pushed himself harder. Every game, he studied the film and found weaknesses in his own performance. Every summer, he added a new skill to his game. Post moves, three-point shooting, defense. He was never satisfied, never content, always competing against himself. When you play against yourself, you have no limit because there's always a better version of you waiting to be unlocked. That's what Jordan understood, and that's why he became the greatest. Part 4. The Science of Progress. 35 minutes to 40 minutes. Cortisol versus dopamine. Let's talk about what happens in your brain when you compete against others versus when you compete against yourself. When you focus on them, when you scroll through social media and see everyone's perfect lives, your brain produces cortisol. This is the stress hormone, the same chemical that floods your system when you're being chased by a predator. Cortisol shuts down your prefrontal cortex. That's the part of your brain responsible for creativity, problem solving, and rational thinking. Cortisol makes you reactive instead of proactive. It puts you in survival mode. Studies from Stanford University show that chronic social comparison leads to increased cortisol levels, which leads to anxiety, depression, and even physical health problems like high blood pressure and weakened immune function. You are literally making yourself sick by comparing yourself to others. Now, here's what happens when you focus on beating your own personal best. Your brain releases dopamine. This is the reward chemical, the same neurotransmitter that fires when you eat good food, when you achieve a goal, when you make progress. Dopamine doesn't just make you feel good, it motivates you to keep going. It creates what psychologists call a success spiral. When you set small, achievable goals against your own past performance, like reading 5 more pages than yesterday or running 1 more minute than last week, your brain rewards you with dopamine every time you hit that goal. This creates a positive feedback loop. You feel good, so you keep going. You keep going, so you make more progress. You make more progress, so you feel even better. By setting small, achievable goals against your own past performance, you create a success spiral that compounds over time. This is the science of self-competition. It's not just motivational talk, it's biology. 40 minutes to 45 minutes, the humor of self-comparison. Think of your life like a video game. If you're at level 5, why are you mad that someone else is at level 50? They've been playing longer. They started before you. They fought different bosses. They had different power-ups. They might have even used cheat codes. Their level 50 has nothing to do with your level 5. Your job isn't to be level 50 today. Your job is to reach level 6, then level 7, then level 8. Every level you climb, you're beating the previous version of yourself. That's the only comparison that matters. Imagine if Mario spent the whole game looking at what Luigi was doing. He'd never save Princess Peach. He'd just be standing there, jealous, comparing his jump height to Luigi's jump. That's what you're doing when you compare yourself to others. You're standing still, while your game is waiting to be played. The funniest part, the people you're comparing yourself to are probably comparing themselves.
Part 5. How to prove them wrong. The best way to prove the doubters wrong? Don't tell them anything. Seriously, stop announcing your goals. Research from New York University shows that when you announce your goals to other people, your brain gets a premature sense of accomplishment. It releases that dopamine hit before you've actually done the work, and then you lose the motivation to follow through. This is called social reality. When people acknowledge your goal, your brain tricks you into thinking you've already achieved it. So keep your mouth shut. Move in silence. Let your results make the noise. They said you couldn't do it? Don't argue with them. Don't defend yourself. Don't try to convince them. Just disappear for 6 months and come back with a different life. That's the ultimate revenge. Not words, transformation. When Colonel Sanders was getting rejected over and over, he didn't go on social media and complain. He didn't write angry letters. He just kept driving to the next restaurant. When Michael Jordan got cut from the varsity team, he didn't argue with the coach. He just went to the gym. When J.K. Rowling was rejected by 12 publishers, she didn't quit writing. She didn't blast the publishers online. She just kept writing the next chapter. The doubters don't deserve your attention. Your future self does. So give your energy to the person who actually matters, the version of you that's waiting on the other side of the work. Part 5. The Win Journal. Here's a simple tool that will change your life. Every night before you sleep, write down one thing. Just one. Today, I beat yesterday's version of me because I fill in the blank. Maybe you chose water over soda. Maybe you worked 10 minutes longer. Maybe you didn't check your phone for the first hour of the day. Maybe you had an uncomfortable conversation. Maybe you went to the gym when you didn't feel like it. It doesn't have to be big. In fact, it's better if it's small, because small wins compound. This journal does 3 things. First, it trains your brain to look for progress instead of perfection. You stop beating yourself up for not being where you want to be. You start celebrating the fact that you're moving forward. Second, it releases dopamine. Your brain loves documenting wins. Every time you write in that journal, you get a little chemical reward that motivates you to keep going. Third, it creates proof. On the days when you feel like you're not making progress, when the work feels pointless and the results feel far away, you can flip back through your journal and see how far you've come. 6 months from now, you'll have 180 wins documented, 180 pieces of evidence that you are not the same person you were. That's powerful. Start tonight. 1 sentence, that's all it takes. Part 6, the final charge. Here's the truth nobody tells you. This isn't a one-time fight. Yesterday you is a persistent rival. He knows your weaknesses. He knows exactly how to talk you into staying on the couch. He knows the excuses that work on you. Every single day you wake up and the battle starts again. Just 5 more minutes in bed. You can start tomorrow. 1 cheat meal won't hurt. You've worked hard enough today. That voice, that's yesterday you trying to keep you at his level. He doesn't want you to grow. He wants you to stay comfortable. And some days, he's gonna win. You're gonna sleep in, you're gonna skip the workout, you're gonna eat the junk food, you're gonna waste hours scrolling. That's okay, you're human. But here's what separates the winners from everyone else. They don't let one loss become a losing streak. They don't say, well, I already messed up today, so I might as well give up completely. They say, I lost that battle, I'm winning the next one. Because future you is counting on you. Every time you win the battle against yesterday you are building a bridge to a version of yourself you haven't even met yet. A version who is stronger, smarter, healthier, wealthier, happier, and more confident than you can currently imagine. But that version only exists if you keep showing up, if you keep fighting, if you keep choosing the hard thing over the easy thing. Future you is not an accident. Future you is a decision you make every single day. Conclusion. Stop looking at the scoreboard of other people's lives. Stop measuring your success by how close you are to the influencer's vacation, or your friend's promotion, or your sibling's house. The only score that matters is the one you kept today. Did you beat the person you were yesterday, even by 1%? Then you won. You are the architect, the builder, and the resident of your own life. Nobody else is coming to save you. Nobody else is going to hand you the life you want. But here's the beautiful part. You don't need anyone else. You just need to be better than you were yesterday. As the great Ralph Waldo Emerson said, the only person you are destined to become is the person you decide to be. So decide right now. Decide that you're done playing other people's games. Decide that you're done measuring yourself against impossible standards. Decide that starting today, the only person you're competing against is the person in the mirror. And then prove it. One day at a time, one small win at a time, 1% at a time. A year from now, you won't recognize yourself. And when people ask how you did it, you'll smile and say, I just beat yesterday's version of me every single day. Now go out there and win the only competition that matters. Beat the person you were yesterday.